starts with getting fired up, staring at yourself in the mirror and showing some teeth and saying, I'm a human being, I have dignity, I'm going to resist, I'm going to start recognizing the propaganda, I'm going to break free from it, humanity's going to come together. You punch me, I'll pull your arms out of your sockets. We're breaking the conditioning!
You know what? Trump's never sucked a ding dong. But if I was gay, I'd love it. I mean, I'd be out there, I'd have a man every day. I mean, I'd be proud. If I was gay.
What am I saying? But he did say that, for whatever that's worth. I feel like I actually have brain damage right now. I haven't even drank anything yet, so I don't know if maybe that'll help.
I don't know. I don't feel like grog is going to help with anything. For me, the thinking liquors are the clear ones.
That's true. I prefer, just straight up vodka or something. Put a little water in it. Just drink it. I don't need no fancy. Okay, I will say though that there is some amazing whiskey. I will say that. Blanton's. Shout out to Blanton's. Shout out to Buffalo Trace. You're my homies. That's it though, really. I mean, everything else, maybe the Japanese, but I haven't had that in a long, long time. That Japanese whiskey, pretty good. Scotch is disgusting.
The sake or other stuff?
Yeah, they now make whiskey in Japan. PewDiePie did a review on Japanese whiskey. So, if PewDiePie is talking about the Japanese whiskey, that means that I have to have some.
Me too. That's for me.
Yeah, just put it in my Amazon cart for me and ship it to my house. You can just have my credit card number.
I can?
No, not you. The people who sell the Japanese whiskey.
I sell. I need your credit card. I'll send you some.
Okay. Well, after we talk, I'll give you my credit card number, the 3 digits on the back, and my Fortnite account login.
Okay. I need you to help.
Texas Arcane.
That doesn't make me proud of myself.
You've watched what video?
PewDiePie video all the way through one time.
I'll admit I've watched several PewDiePie videos.
Really? I can't handle him.
I think he's annoying. Don't get me wrong. Just like to keep up with the culture.
With the memes?
Not exactly the memes. I just like to see where the wind is blowing, which is why I say that I can definitely feel an inflection, or what you could call a preference cascade, in terms of the average opinion on Donald Trump. I mean, I really mean that. Like, it seems, I don't know what happened. I think it's just...
He didn't build the wall before the midterm, is what didn't happen.
A lot of people were expecting more than they got for some reason, and now there just seems to be this kind of wake-up, like, wait a minute, we really haven't gotten shit.
Well, it's that, and everybody realized it's business as usual, because the midterms were like a normal midterm. And there was this whole big hubbub about, like, this is the most important one ever, like every time. But this time it was with Trump, and then the same thing happened as usual, which is, like, the party that's out of power got a couple seats back. And everybody's like, hang on, I've seen this movie before. This is just like all the other time. So now Trump's just a normal president. He's not a special president.
Yeah, he's not going to win 2020. I'll go ahead and say it. Put your bet money on it. He's not going to win.
Well, that was already my prediction, so, I mean, I'm absolutely better than you.
Well. Well, I didn't know you thought that. That's, I guess you did.
I predicted my thing. I said that Gavin Newsom and what's-her-face, the black chick, were going to run together, and they were going to beat Donald Trump. Because they were going to get enough of the single white women. Do you keep an eye on what happened with the caravan?
Did they let him in?
I don't know.
No.
I kept track of that for about 2 weeks after, and then I was like, I got shit.
I stopped paying attention when Trump was seriously considering putting the man who let Jeffrey Epstein off as our Attorney General. When Trump came out publicly and said that he was one of the candidates for Attorney General, that's when I was like, you know what? I've had enough of this. I'm not going to spend my fucking time following this shit. This is demonic. All these people are demonic. I'm sure Trump has raped fucking kids. Fuck this guy. I mean, he's probably fucked his own kids. I mean, fuck him, you know? Alright, this is a letter from the editor, the future MM, and I just wanted to say, after listening back to this, obviously I didn't want to seriously offend anybody by saying what I just said about Donald Trump, so I will qualify it a bit. The man I'm talking about in terms of the labor secretary is Alexander Acosta, who is the man who let off Jeffrey Epstein. Trump also has ties to Jeffrey Epstein, and when asked in court, Epstein admitted that Trump has been on his plane, and he took the Fifth Amendment when asked if Trump had ever visited his private island. So there's that. If anyone who is interested in that, they should watch the Blackstone Intelligence video on Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. I should also say that me and Aioli had been talking way before this podcast started, and I cut all that out because I wanted to do a much better video because it just wasn't tight enough. But we've been talking about demons and the Moloch stuff, child sacrifice, that is quite common in the upper levels, at least the mock child sacrifice, and other things have been mentioned, but they're not worth going into here. So I'll just say that, you know, as far as my actual opinion on Donald Trump, I seriously would not be surprised if he has engaged in these things with Epstein, who, by the way, was also his neighbor. Mar-a-Lago is right next to Epstein's house, so there's that too. And there is that quote, that famous quote of Donald Trump saying, you know, I've known Jeffrey Epstein for 15 years. He's a great guy. Jeffrey Epstein loves his women, especially on the younger side. And that's a hell of a comment to make. You know, that's from 2002. Anyway, just so you know, as far as the actual issue with Trump, my actual view, and I'm just saying this because there's going to be people that I don't want to offend, that I respect, that will perhaps listen to this, and I want to qualify it and not just say what is said in the podcast, which is admittedly pretty extreme. Although I meant it, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. But I gotta say, in terms of the actual reality, Trump was bailed out in 1994 by the Rothschilds. His campaign after the primaries was funded by Sheldon Adelson, who's a hardcore Zionist. You know, he's jacked in with Bibi Netanyahu. You've got Kushner, you've got all this other shit. And, you know, end of the day, he was bailed out in 1994 by the Rothschilds. So I don't think there's a wall. I don't think you get these other things. And, you know, I'd love to be wrong. I would absolutely love to be wrong about it. But, you know, after the Q stuff, after looking into it, and really, frankly, after the almost cult-like behavior that has grown around Donald Trump for some time, that's why you hear what you hear in terms of what I'm saying in this podcast. And maybe there's too much hate, but I'm not gonna apologize for it. I just wanted to qualify it so that people didn't think I'm extreme, although I don't disagree with anything said in this. So anyway, it's a bit of an aside. Maybe this is tedious or whatever, but it's good to explain things. So I hope that explained things. If you look at his apartment, there's straight Masonic symbolism everywhere. He's literally got the painting that's in the Masonic codes on his fucking ceiling in his golden apartment. You can look that shit up.
What's the code say? The code of this painting.
Oh, fuck.
Maybe I'll look it up. I got a computer.
I think it was mentioned. I've heard this other places, but I think it was mentioned in that inversion thread later on. So you can find it there. It's just... But that's another thing. Well, I won't go into that.
Yeah, because I've seen that he had a lot of shit going on in Trump Tower.
He lives on the 66th floor. Trump Tower is 664 feet tall, reportedly. Kushner buys 666 Fifth Avenue. Like, okay, I'm not into that Q-spiracy shit, right? But if I see enough of that, and then he's got the goddamn, and then he's got twin pillars everywhere in his fucking apartment too, which is classic Masonic symbolism. The fucking black and white checkerboard, the grand chessboard, bro. Zbigniew Brzezinski, fuck, man, so obvious shit. I'm mad. I'm sorry. Oh, the thing's fucking up. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
So I am only vaguely aware of stuff like the two pillars thing, which I assume is just the Gemini thing. But I'm aware that the grand chessboard is a thing, but I don't know what it represents.
Chaos and order, black and white. The world is, laid out as this chessboard of black chaos and white order. I mean, that's it.
Yeah, I get the Manichaeism part of that, but I assume it also means something like we're the grand chess masters and writing the thing for everybody else across history, and we are the great men of history and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's bring up Freemason. Let's do Trump Freemason and go to Google Images, see what we find. List of... There are a lot of interesting articles that popped up here.
I mean, the thing is, even if that's all bullshit, it's not bullshit that he was bailed out by the Rothschilds in 1994. That's direct. That's admitted. It's a matter of fucking record. And so any of the other stuff that I might say, I just go back to that. It's like, you really expect this guy to build your wall? Here's the fact. He's extremely competent. He is. I will say that Donald Trump is a very competent person. And the level of incompetence he's displayed in the presidency is because he's not trying to do any of it.
Okay. Looking at Trump Tower. It has like a chessboard on the front of it.
Which also got like this fucking Mesopotamian temple style, like in the middle, you see, it's an inverted pyramid of steps moving upwards.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, is the steps there.
That's weird.
That's weird. You're right that it's an inverted one. It's just I should really take a look at this closely, because it would have taken a lot of work went into making that little statement there.
Yeah.
So it's probably important to somebody, and that somebody's probably Mr. Trump himself, or at least his dad.
I mean, the family history of the family is fucking weird. His grandfather ran a brothel and a casino. Nasty fucking family. And then, who knows anything about his dad? I can't find shit about Fred Trump. He just owned loads and loads and loads of low rental cheap units and was somehow jacked into all this politics shit.
So you're figuring this guy controlled opposition as opposed to a guy who was a shitty person, part of this shitty cabal, and then changed his mind.
No, I think he's above the normal paradigm. I think he's one of the lesser members of this thing who, because of his extreme narcissism, wanted to get involved more directly than is typically allowed.
Oh, okay.
I think he's a true technocrat.
I want to run the show because I have such ability.
No, it's like I want to run the show because I want to feel like a fucking powerful as shit. Even though he realizes on some level that he's just a lower minion. It's the same reason Bill Clinton became president, except Bill Clinton was white trash and all that.
Bill Clinton is the guy I use for the example of reverse Trump speak. He's like the consummate political talker. He doesn't even point at people because that would be threatening. Just does that special pointing that apparently his image coach told him to do. The first knuckle.
To be honest, I know much more about Hillary than Bill. The only thing I know about Bill is the stuff in Mena, Arkansas, and the fact that his brother, Roger, is a convicted pedophile that he pardoned while he was president, and nobody talks about that. I mean, it's just ridiculous shit.
Nobody to talk about. You'd think that the conspiracy theorists at least would be on that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love the Blackstone Intelligence YouTube channel, Jake Morphonios. I've learned so much shit, and I don't agree with him on everything because he's very woke to the JQ stuff, but he's not like, he still wants to be, really nice, and that's fine. I mean, I'm fine with that. But he's not, he is the truth, right? But the only thing he's wrong about is the race stuff. He's not woke on the race stuff. But everything else, I mean, the guy knows his shit.
And what did he say about Fred, Fred Clinton, was it?
Roger Clinton? I believe it's Roger Clinton.
Okay.
Bill Clinton's brother who worked with, Larry Nichols, Vince Foster, and other people bringing cocaine into Mena, Arkansas, working for the CIA.
I just thought that they were a bunch of, thief/lawyers.
His father, Bill Clinton's father, was a door-to-door salesman.
So he doesn't have any family history. How did he get elected president if he didn't have any family history?
Leverage.
What kind of leverage?
I assume the same kind of leverage that Jeffrey Epstein has. He knows and has...
Mr. Clinton had some unsavory pursuits. He probably had contact and just kept records.
It's the same reason why Hillary will never be prosecuted, why Jeffrey Epstein's never going to be seriously prosecuted. It's because he has leverage, and I don't know what, but it's probably has to do from his days of the cocaine and probably maybe pedo shit, who knows, but he's got evidence of other people doing stuff, and he couldn't just be killed, right? Like, he's got pictures of powerful people fucking kids or something, the same way that Jeffrey Epstein would fly people to his private island, and and he's done that with heads of states and shit, right? So Jeffrey Epstein's untouchable. Bill Clinton, Bill Clinton also got a scholarship, now I think about it, and he got a scholarship to Oxford and all this other shit. So he's definitely connected in other ways that I don't know about. And then he got kicked out of Oxford in 1969 for raping Eileen Wellstone. And of course, he's gotten admitted $150,000 settlement with Kathleen Willey for sexual misconduct. That's what it's called. Who knows what he actually did? And it's probably much, much more than $150K underneath, right? Like, that's the admitted thing. Like, oh, we settled with her for $150K. She probably got much more than that.
I would believe it. I guess I don't know how that world of settlements and shit works. So I'm embarrassed to admit this, but I didn't notice until now that the square and compass, the Freemason square and compass, makes a Star of David. The shape does.
Yeah, it does.
So there you go, symbols intelligence. True Melon Boone starting the show. Can't figure out that shit.
No, don't worry about it. I mean, all we have to do is to make our own community, make our own breakaway civilization, because this society is so fucked up that I'm not saying that the people aren't worth saving and all this stuff, but it's layer upon layer upon layer, and to even get into all of it would require me to be at my top game. But you get it all. I mean, we all know it in the back of our brains that it's all fucked up. This, we're going to chase status and money and pleasure, and meanwhile, countries falling apart. Like, just everything about this is wrong. So I just want enough money. I want some really good friends, a great family, build a community, an actual community of people. And it can start online, or I don't want to, but like you, right? I have you. You're a good friend. You're woke. If I can find 5 or 6 other people like you, and then have enough actual contact, and then try to find that in real life locally and form an actual community, that's the thing. And then just try to build it out from there. You know, like-minded people who get it. Stop wasting our time on all this crap that honestly we really can't change, because the people who try to change just get killed.
Mm-hmm. Well, the people who are in any way successful at it, anyway.
Yeah.
Or they get the Alex Jones treatment. So do you still think he's a shill? And that he was just burned?
I think...
as a wasted contact?
No, it's not that. I think it's more complicated than that. I think that they must have realized at some point that Alex was a gateway. Most people did not stop at Alex Jones, right? They went further over the years, and then they eventually woke up to what's really going on. Maybe they don't get the whole picture. I doubt, even you or I have the whole picture, but they woke up enough to be seriously dangerous. And so they realized that Alex was more of a liability than an asset. He really wasn't keeping people locked in. So it'd be better just to get rid of him.
To burn him.
Yep.
What do you think about Tucker Carlson?
Tucker Carlson's father was a hardcore Zionist. You can look him up right now if you want. Tucker Carlson's father. I think that Tucker has a conscience, but he's never going to do anything that threatens himself. But, I mean, ultimately, can't be trusted,
Good to know. He's a very sharp guy, but that doesn't... Okay, random thought. In that movie, what is it, Lawrence of Arabia, which I was watching earlier, the guy that recruits Lawrence looks exactly like George Soros. So much so that I thought it was George Soros.
Well, that's something.
I'm going to figure out who that actor was, because that was kind of weird for me. Some British intelligence agent.
Okay, so I haven't seen the movie. What did he recruit him for?
To find some prince in the Arab lands and unite the tribes as a British unit to fight the Turks during World War II. It's a very Melanie movie. I'm having a good time.
Do you like grog? It's an up and coming beverage.
What is grog? Grog.
Yes. I'm a pirate. Ever since I watched Pirates of the Caribbean, I just have to have some grog.
Pirates of the Caribbean is a good movie.
It's pretty good. It actually is pretty good. And it does tell you a lot, like we already talked about, me, you, and Boneflower. A lot of stuff in there, you know. There are only two things that matter: what a man can do, what a man can't do, all that crap. I'm getting away from that, by the way. That's satanic, obviously, but I'm trying.
Well, yeah, that's an amoral philosophy. It just describes the pirate life quite well. If you're into pirate, cannibal, melonhead theory type stuff, then that movie's not a bad sort of introduction to the mindset. It's goofy. It's very Disney, but it's...
No, it seems more and more like it's all this stuff just comes back from the Middle East. Long ago, ancient Middle East shit.
Brian Forster.
What?
So it has to do with the Giants, according to Brian Forster.
Well, I don't know anything about that. How would they be in North America?
I don't know. He's just saying that the genetics are Middle Eastern in origin.
But don't the I don't know. But when they sequenced the skulls, the Paracas skulls, they came from the Khazar region.
Oh.
So I wonder about
Maybe
that.
I haven't heard that, because I think of those as being kind of the same.
Yeah, so that's the Caucasus.
Right, which is...
It's kind of close.
North,
I mean, you know, but the Caucasus.
Like, you can imagine that there was connection between the two regions, but they are not the same.
No, that's the fucking snake priests and shit. Those are what Cleve. That's the most interesting stuff I thought Cleve really ever wrote, was talking not about the Maltese snake priests, but about the Khazars, and they took the Moloch stuff to a whole new level with their fucking shit. Because if you start from the base of this idea of God and exactly what is desired from all of this, I don't really care. To be frank, I don't really care if there is this, God or whatever. If I don't know if I should say this, but maybe I exist just for an ego reason on that God's part, and maybe if anybody listens to that, that's offensive or whatever. I'm just saying, maybe that's it. I don't really care.
If they're Christians, they shouldn't be offended, because I suspect it's true, and at least in substance, if not in connotation.
See, I don't care about the idea itself, but I should note that it does piss me off if I were to think, well, are you selecting for people without the desire to without the desire to think about things? That bothers me.
Right. Are you selecting for the blind faithful?
Yes. You see, I would, frankly, I don't know if anger, just be disappointed in the deity if that is what he was looking for. Because I do wonder, hey, maybe you could say some things to me. Maybe you could, pop in my head, or make an angel pop in my head. I'd appreciate that. That's sort of where it ends. It's just like, okay, I don't get why you don't just do that.
I don't think I get it either. There's some stuff in the Bible alluding to that, but I think, you ever see The Seventh Seal? I think it would like that. This is what that movie is
on the
about.
list. Yes.
It's about silence, and the silence of God.
Maybe Lucia's the dopamine of released when doing disgusting things.
Is dopamine released when you do disgusting things?
Dopamine is released both upon pleasure and both upon excitation / disgust or surprise. So this is the reason, and this is of course extremely adaptive, at least evolutionarily speaking. Think about it. Why would a soldier ever come to love war besides the camaraderie, which is a huge thing? The camaraderie of your people through this shared horrible experience. That's extremely powerful. That's the good side. The bad side is that you get addicted to the stimulation. The same way, this is exactly what causes the increase of extremely fucked up pornography that we've discussed, at least in one aspect. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you just think about the time scale. I mean, it's been 10 years. Like, how long? 15 years ago, homosexuality was still basically taboo. Like, I just start thinking about it. I'm like, fuck.
I remember when you didn't say sex on TV. That was only 2002, maybe?
Like, I want to run from this culture. I want to run because it's going to... I think people really aren't negative enough with it. Even on the right. I don't think they really get the scale.
Yeah. Call it the winner's effect.
Oh, yeah.
They just don't comprehend the possibility of losing despite having lost.
I don't think
because they always redefine it as winning.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we lost, but we're the winners because we're the ones.
Because we're better. Because we believe something. It's just like, well, okay, one day they're going to come for your kids, and you know what they're going to do to them.
Well, when they do that, I got my gun.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, I black pill anytime I start thinking about the conservative threat response.
What they don't get is that they're going to be perverted themselves. That's their fundamental fucking misunderstanding.
Right, they think that because they are the good ones, that they can't be perverted, that their kids can't be perverted, that basically nothing can be done to them as long as they just continue to believe in the Constitution.
Yeah. But I think that's it. It's just, if you can't get the parents, you get the kids, and that's really it. If you can't
I think they don't understand how badly perverted they are already.
That's the thing, and I'm disgusted with myself when I think about it, just in my own life. That's my new mission.
To not be perverted?
No, and not in the necessarily just the sexual sense, but just in so many ways. Like this idea of God, it's not necessarily intelligence right here, it's more memory. But just think about how we talk about a leftist or how we talk about these other things. Like, everything has this to it. It's especially with the sexual, but you get a conservative to talk about violence, you get them to talk about these other things. Like all these immature
They're getting to talk about how much they would enjoy to have just a row of leftists lined up in an automatic M50.
Yeah, and I just start to think, is your dick hard when you're killing the leftists? Is your dick going to be hard? Huh?
They probably think so until they actually get there and then they check it out.
And good for them.
Most of them. Some of them really are horrible people, but I think most of them are nice and just don't get what they're saying.
I guess the sentiment I'm trying to express that I'm doing a horrible job of is that instead of truly focusing on loving our families and on building a great life, and a great life is not material, in this space here and now, everyone's focused on simultaneously hating and doing nothing about this situation at large.
Yeah, there's a definite problem there.
So that's one of the big things. I can't parse this in real time.
Well, here's the thing about that. There is an implicit understanding that when you do something, you are taking responsibility for it. Right?
Yep.
And that's the problem. People don't want to be accountable for the thing because, okay, let's imagine that there's some shit out on your driveway, right? If you let that sit for 20 years, and then tomorrow you go pick it up, that's admitting that you could have picked it up 20 years ago.
Yeah. Yep.
Or,
I understand.
even worse, you go out and try to pick it up, but it turns out you can't.
Oh, yeah, that's it right there. That's it.
Yeah. So there's actually no winning if you've already given up on trying. It's much easier to complain and say, like, if the neighbor's fault is there, he should pick it up. It was his dog that poops on my driveway. And I've been telling him for 20 years that he needs to pick up that poop. Poop doesn't actually last for 20 years. This is a bad example.
No, it's a good example. We can forget the physics of reality. But this brings up something I was thinking about in terms of whatever you want to call this, I guess, the good life. And my ideas of the good life it's the word congruity. I think that's the thing one of the things people are really lacking is congruity in themselves. Everyone's in this giant state of cognitive dissonance.
How much of that do you think is the complexity of the modern world?
A lot.
Wise.
A lot, but why does that have to be a necessity? It doesn't have to be a necessity.
It's a necessity because it's necessary for material comfort.
But comfort's not necessary.
Did you see the part where on Discord where you were around for when we were talking about the original meaning of the word effeminacy?
No.
So the etymologyonline.com thing says that effeminacy used to mean the unwillingness to endure hardship in order to do something good.
Well, everyone's effeminate.
Yep. That's the best word ever if it has that meaning.
That's it. That's really it. And everyone will just spin justification upon justification, and then I think that's how you get what happened to Vox Day. And I don't want to, I just use him because obviously you have kept tabs on him and still talk about him a very good deal. So I know he's in your mind. I could use other people. Like I could say, oh, Mike Cernovich. But, I don't want to talk about Mike Cernovich. You can see it, this cognitive dissonance shit. Like with Cernovich, he'll talk all day about, we're going to peace and love now. We're going away from dark energy, blah, blah, blah. But then he'll retweet the IDF talking about supposedly killing terrorists in Gaza when really they killed like 6 kids. And it's just it's like I know you're not stupid enough to really just believe this at face value.
Yeah, he probably does not to mention it because he's involved in the media cycle. He could just be still a Zionist who thinks that Israel does it wrong. There are a lot of people in America who are sincere in that belief.
Okay, I will give space for that because he was raised in a very, very Christian home. But here's a tweet. I'm pulling up his Twitter right now because I saw this. I've been checking out his Twitter because he's been going hard on Trump. And I'll be honest, it's just entertainment. It's been entertaining for me.
Is he going hard good or hard bad on Trump?
Hard like, wow, I'm just going to say what I think, this guy's a loser.
Ouch.
Yeah, he's gone full, you MAGA bots are retarded.
Huh.
That's like basically a quote.
I didn't see that coming.
Oh, he must not care at all about, he really must dislike the political landscape. Like, he really must want to go back to the danger and play days.
You're talking psychological, right? But that could be his form of hedonism, where it's just right now it's too much. Like between the conflict and the despair and the cognitive dissonance and just holding all these things in tension. He legitimately could be fantasizing about the danger and play days just because it was so free. Like, he'd say whatever he wanted.
Yeah, he could fuck trannies.
Did he fuck tranny?
What is sex with a tranny like? That's an article from Danger and Play. That's why you'll see people tweet at him chemical salty taste, because that's how he described the tranny's in his mouth.
Oh, that's gross.
Yeah, I shouldn't have even said that because it was gross for me to say it. But, okay, he deleted it, of course. But the tweet was, somebody was like, you're just full of racism and hatred of Jews, Mike. And then he tweeted back at them, I schedule all of my events in accordance to Shabbat. So, I mean, he's hardcore, you know.
So not Sabbath, not the Sabbath, Shabbat.
Yeah.
I assume it's the same things.
It's the Jew shit. So, and then, you know, 1,000 other examples, but that's one from today. So if this actually ends up getting put out there, I'm sure it'll make a lot of people angry if we actually end up putting this out there. But I don't mind. I think it'd be good for, you know, maybe. Anyway, we'll just keep talking. Not be concerned. Grog is good, I'll say. I feel a bit better.
You're good. You're coming through a great deal more coherent. So maybe it is a thinking drink, you know?
Yeah. Grog is the thinking pirate's drink.
Red wine is the Melon Boone's drink. We don't think, we know.
Oh, Melon Boons.
I'm embracing that identity.
Save the Melon Boons.
We should start a legitimate Patreon.
They really are the people who need the most saving. I feel for the Melon Boons. There
just aren't very many of them. And if you think about it, there just aren't that many pyramids left over that you can sacrifice children on.
Yeah, well, but I'm serious though. They've all been suckered into chasing status and shit, and a lot of it's their natural, you know, inclinations. But they could just be the best people. They really could.
Oh, I know. That was something I was saying earlier today. Somebody was that people with very high ability, I think, can either be saints or devils. And that's kind of their choice in life because the way I put it was if you get in an elevator with a 600-pound gorilla, then it's not your decision at that point what that gorilla does. So that's the position a person's in if they have an IQ of 200 and they're charismatic and they're ambitious. They can treat other people however they want.
That's true. Yeah.
To one degree or another, that's the situation that all really high ability people are in, and it's kind of a curse too because it's lonely at the same time.
Yes. That's a big part of it. I think a big part of why they're able to do some of the things that they do, or why they become so jaded. But also, I think that there's actually a neurophysiological component of, I guess we could go back to calling it perversion, but really it's, in this sense, the ability to quickly rewire your brain, to quickly learn, which is, of course, is a hallmark of high IQ. So basically, you know, what's going to cause the biggest brain changes? It's stuff that releases the most dopamine. So if you're a high IQ person and you start doing fucked up shit, your brain is getting rewired so fast. And I think people don't really realize that.
And they're going to crave things that are going to do that because their brain needs to be used at its full capacity. I
mean, addiction, of course, is a huge part of all this. I mean, addiction's one of the hallmark base layer evil things.
That makes sense intuitively, but I had never thought of it that way.
I think we put too much emphasis on it's always a choice. And even people like me who have an understanding of the habit chain and of habits and of people who have literally lost the conscious parts of their brain but still do their habits. Even I don't talk about habits. We keep talking about it like everything we do is up to our free will. And of course it can be. It can be if you turn it on. But for the most part, people like what to use something a Scott Adams type person would say, you don't rise to the level of your ambition, you fall to the level of your habits. It's basically that, until you put a ton of willpower together. But once you've killed kids, there's no going back, really.
They do sometimes, but I think that you're right 99.9% of the time. You know who's I'm not going to say the dude killed kids or nothing, but well, like some of the rockers from back in the day will tell you about the stuff that they were into.
Yeah, I've stopped.
The guy from Kansas in particular, the blonde one.
Huh. Yeah, I've deleted.
He was like big into Satanism, and then he eventually converted to Christianity and did the tell-all thing where he's like, yeah, it turns out this Lucifer guy pretends to be an angel of light, but actually he's a deceiver.
Oh.
Did you know?
Wow.
Yep, we did know that.
But I don't think he probably killed any kids or anything. But yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. You just hear about people. Of course, you also hear about. You hear about all kinds of shit. What am I getting? I mean, I'm not getting anywhere talking about that, but you do hear about people repenting, even if they're really deep into it. But people don't just quit addictions most of the time.
But I don't.
That's an unusual event, especially if it's a deep addiction. Like, people don't generally just quit meth. Usually they just die.
Right, and the people who do quit meth, they have dreams about it all the time.
Who do you think invented meth and why?
Probably a pharmaceutical company or something. Oh wait, it was invented like in the 1920s or something for soldiers, I think.
That would make sense. I know that amphetamines were in pretty heavy use during World War II.
Yeah, I mean, that's you want to talk energy, momentum, focus, bro. You get the Waffen SS guys hopped up on meth, give them a bunch of MG42s. I mean, there's like stories of people getting shot like dozens of times. They still keep going. I mean, there is a bit of admiration in me listening to that, but it's ultimately really fucked up, of course. It's like, but there is that, like, whoa.
I admire people who are on meth doing superhuman things.
Yeah, I mean, it's understandable. It is the meth, so we can't say they're like amazing people, but it's still,
It's kind of badass to like take a dozen bullets, but
yeah,
it just makes you 50 Cent.
Bring back the Waffen SS.
Oh, hang on. This is going to put a new spin on the meth state.
Oh.
Is what it is. Bring back Nazis on meth.
That is the good life. You just do meth and kill until you die. Oh yeah.
Viking spirit. I'm a little bit worried that I just memed that idea into existence. But Nazis on meth coming back.
That's probably what happened.
Well, that's the thing, is like it's funny, and then I'm like, oh shit, that's going to become real, isn't it? Anything that's funny becomes real in the con world.
The top 1% of 4chaners will become Methno State Nazi Waffen SS clones.
But think about it. It's the white drug, and it gives you power. That's white power.
White power. Is meth white?
Meth is white.
White power.
It's the white people drug.
Just call it that. I mean, fuck meth. It's a nasty name for such a beautiful substance.
It's crystals. That's why it has power. It's like
it's pure. Yeah, it resonates with the 432 hertz frequency of the universe. It opens your pineal gland.
Mm-hmm. It decalcifies your meridians.
You know, if Alex Jones isn't on something, can you imagine what would happen if he were to take meth?
He would transcend the God Emperor. Ugh, it didn't come out.
I think
he He might become president.
He literally would. I don't even know. Like he acts like he's on something. So if he's really not, and he were to take meth, God, he'd probably like stay up for a week just like attacking people, you know, in Congress or something. Or he'd just like start sniping congressmen.
Roger, we gotta go to D.C. now.
Roger'd be like, no, Alex, I'm not going to help you kill congressmen.
It's like, Roger, take this. And then Roger would help him. I would watch that movie, and I kind of want to put meth in Alex Jones' breakfast cereal.
Super male vitality. You chug a bottle of super male vitality and smoke your meth pipe or whatever. I missed an idea though. There was something I was thinking before the meth no state thing.
Oh, okay. Well, I was thinking about how meth probably makes you gay.
I've heard that it, you know, really increases the sex weirdness, but so it definitely could make some people gay. But people on meth said that like one of the things people on meth do is they'll like masturbate like 30 times in a row. And they'll say it's better than any sex they've ever had in their life.
That sounds awesome.
Well,
I don't think I could probably do 30 times in a row. That sounds very hard.
Yeah, and
So I guess it amps up the sex drive.
Yeah,
in order to make it happen.
And I'm sure, you know, like we were talking about, spirit. It's loosh.
Can we go back to a more pleasant topic?
I was going to transition until I forgot what the fuck I was going to say. Bring it to a better place.
We were talking about Alex Jones being gay and how meth makes people gay. Right before I said meth, I think meth makes people gay.
What were we talking about right before meth?
How it gives Nazis superpowers and...
Before any mention of meth.
Something about masturbating 30 times.
No, that was still with meth. Before the meth.
Oh.
I can't remember.
Oh, shit.
It was a while ago.
We talked a lot about meth.
Yeah, fuck. I mentioned...
By which I mean white power crystals.
Yes.
The real chaos emeralds.
Oh no.
I legit have no idea. I think we were talking about Mike Cernovich. Before that.
Oh yeah, I was talking about congruence and his lack of congruence, and then I was gonna. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, congruence. People, it's a big problem. You know, and I was gonna say that's how Vox Day has gotten the way he is. It's because of his lack of congruence mentally.
Well, you're saying that he's not 100% purely devoted to truth and light and beauty?
Yeah, the Dark Lord is not the... there's just so many layers to that. Like, fuck, man. That's a narcissistic persona creation right there. The Dark Lord.
Oh, I think that's ironic, but there's... he doesn't do irony super well because he doesn't have a sense of humor.
I don't really think it's ironic when you call your... Maybe it started out that way, but I don't think it is anymore, bro. He's a pretty nasty person.
Well, yeah, but I think that is still ironic. And you have to listen to me because I'm a turtle. Not a crazy person. Just a man who identifies as a turtle. That's a weird thing to say. I don't actually identify as that. That was a weird post.
You made a turtle post?
Yeah, I said I'm the turtle.
Huh. Well...
You and all that.
I don't know if you are a turtle, but...
I always wanted to be a Ninja Turtle. I still do. I want to have adventures in space. But no, I have to do a real job, which is the worst. Can't recommend it. My job is actually going really well, though, because I tried to quit. And then they said, hang on, you want to try something else first? And I said, okay. And the new thing works really well for me.
Oh, well, that's good. Now you don't have to, have a week of fun and then spiral into black pillhood from quitting your job.
Yeah. Which is what would happen. I don't do well with not doing well at my job. A lot of my mood is based on whether I like my job.
I think that's probably pretty universal. I don't think people can compartmentalize, or is healthy to compartmentalize.
So it's actually been a great week and a half in terms of job-wise, because I've been busy like every minute of it, and also I've been enjoying it. So it was just a really nice feeling. I kind of burned out because I was in battle mode the whole week and a half, but it was an awesome time.
I guess we can't talk about the thing on the podcast if this is actually going to be put out there.
Probably not. Do you want to call it and then talk about it? Or do you want to talk about Alex Jones literally sucking Benjamin Netanyahu's dick on meth a little bit more? Excuse me. White Power Chaos Emeralds.
Through the dark and follow me.
So what I used to do was just keep notebooks, which I would plan on like going back and reading or scanning or doing something with. But now that they're all just a bunch of notebooks in a pile in a bin in my closet that I just carry around with me all the time. So now I just update Sheep as my smartphone. That's how I take my notes now. That works a lot better.
Would they still want me to kill him? More than ever, probably.
Oh! Whatever happened to the Apocalypse Now posts?
I was gonna do it, and then my family situation went to shit, but I still have it in mind, and I'm still gonna do it.
Okay.
And then the one I did today, okay, so the couple I did this last week were necessary for me, and then the one I did this morning was for Patrick, because we're trying to solve all of the problems all in one go. And it's a non-linear problem. Oh. I made a sweet diagram for that. But I'm still going to do it. Because things are calming down a bit.
Well, I think he should, hint, hint, Patrick, come to the same conclusion that if you want to solve all the problems, we need to break away civilization, bro. Break away civilization. Because you ain't fixing this one.
What we need is to be able to convince any two of us to move to the same location, physical space. And I don't see that happening quickly. Or at all. I can't get anybody to move to Michigan, that's for sure.
Oh, fuck no. Why would anybody want to live in Michigan?
Because it feels like everything's covered in a thin layer of mud, and that's nostalgic for me. So why wouldn't it be nostalgic for everybody?
But Alabama's white Israel.
It's also mosquito Israel.
Well,
and they're all making Aliyah, and then they form together like transformers and make these giant mosquitoes.
Just don't go outside during the entirety of the summer and spring.
Okay. That does sound like a good idea. In fact, that matches my neat lifestyle. So what you're saying is, I can stay in the basement the whole time and have my meth in the state.
Yes.
I could do meth in the basement and masturbate 30 times.
Honestly, though, the mosquitoes are only bad for people like me who have the weird gene that makes mosquitoes attack them. Like, it's a real thing. They love me. I have, literal scars all over my arms and legs now because of how many mosquito bites. It's fucked up.
Well, I don't think I have that one, but they do come after me a little bit. I think it changes with my mood, too.
The mosquitoes go after the people with high cortisol, maybe?
That's what I think. They smell fear.
Oh, no.
Especially the ones in, well, okay, Mississippi the worst, because Mississippi is basically a giant swamp, right?
Mississippi is I could talk to you about that.
Go for it. I love shitting on other states.
Mississippi's it's a third world state. I shouldn't go into details, but my mom may be taking...
I can't really tell the two apart. Alabama, Mississippi.
Oh no, there's a big difference.
If you ever want to come back at me with something like that, just talk about Ohio, Michigan, same thing.
Well, you have Detroit, so I mean.
Detroit was the Motor City.
It was.
It's gonna be great again. We're making Detroit great again. Just watch. We can't make cars, but we can do corruption like nobody's business.
Yeah, it's funny because Trump actually went to Detroit and gave a speech and said that.
What, we're gonna make Detroit great again?
That's pretty funny.
Not well, it's named Detroit. It's gonna have to change names if it's gonna be something different.
But
I don't know where I figured that out. Oh, you know what? That was when they passed weed. It's like, well, I guess we aren't going to have jobs here anymore. So Detroit isn't going to rise again until some sort of horrible upheaval happens, or maybe not even like a horrible one, just some sort of change of cultures. Something would have to change in a big way, and that would probably involve renaming the city to something like Jinklong, because the Chinese are going to buy everything. They already have. They've already bought most of Detroit. Exaggerating only slightly. What, you don't like our new Chinese overlords?
I guess I don't really want to change things that much. Not in the immediate. Do what you want, China folk. We're looking at you, China man.
I wonder what that's actually going to look like.
I don't know. I don't think it's going to last. I think it doesn't really gel with any of the long-term plans of the McElite.
Do you think they have enough control to stop the Chinese?
Hell yes.
How would they do it?
They'll just start a war.
Using whose military? Russia and the U.S.? Are we assuming nukes are real?
Yes, nukes are real. I'm pretty certain about that.
I'm pretty sure they are too. I should be. I was in nuclear engineering for a little bit. The degree, not the field. Which is to say that I should know some things. I really don't, because I didn't. I'm not smart enough to have gotten the nuclear physics at the level that a person ought to if they're in that field. Not that anybody does. Not the kids they're putting through, I mean. Bunch of retards. Everybody's retarded. Dude, the IQ drops are real. I'm just gonna say it. I know you don't believe it. The IQ drops are real. I don't think a person with a 130 IQ today would have been qualified to count money in 1800.
You think it's that much of a drop? See, I think there's been a drop, but to say that, it's like, fuck no. I mean, look,
I think they would put that person in the field just to hoe.
There are interviews. There are interviews in the 1940s and in the 1930s with people who survived the Civil War. You know, they're not geniuses. They are, on average, more articulate, much more well-spoken, and certainly, probably, 5 to 7, who knows, IQ points higher. And that's being generous. Let's just say maybe that. But I think a lot of it's just the fact that they're well-spoken from a lifetime of talking to people and whatnot. And the people in the 1920s were quite well-spoken, the 30s, and even up till the 40s. Really, it's just since, I guess, the 70s, after the 60s shit, that people have started being retarded. And it's just, accelerated lately.
I think the silence were probably the last articulate generation. The boomers aren't half bad. Like they're retarded in the sense of what they believe, but not in the way the way that they express it is typically not retarded. Depends. They do get kind of bad, but they at least put out intellectuals, right? Who can you name that's a millennial intellectual?
Is PewDiePie a millennial?
Yeah, I think he is. But who else, though?
Obviously, PewDiePie is not an intellectual. I don't know. Nobody. Everyone's fucking stupid.
Roosh.
Oh, Roosh is, I'm quite happy with the transformation he's made.
Yeah, me too. Of course, he's Persian, though, so... Grr, hate him. My white woman.
Yeah, whatever. He's never going to get married.
Also, on balance, I think he's done more good than bad, despite all that shit.
Yeah. Has Hertis done more good than bad?
Yeah.
I haven't read him for years, so I couldn't really judge. But you say yes, so I guess...
He's mostly political these days, and only occasionally does game stuff. And I think that's just to pacify the old crowd that begged him for it. It's not like he hasn't already covered everything. But he's still very good.
Yeah. Do you have anything going on tonight? Can I take a break and, use the bathroom?
Yeah, I don't got nothing going on.
Okay. Just, I guess I don't have to hang up, but I probably should.
Yeah, it'll make things easier. I'm gonna go to the bathroom too.